Okay, well, thank you guys. And just so you all know, when I joined Arbonne, one of the first things that I was told was it's all about the shoes. So did you see that I made it up the stairs in those shoes, right? Well, thank you all so much. Thank you, Dominique, for the introduction. I appreciate that. And I have to tell you, I'm extraordinarily nervous up here, and partly just because I'm in front of a big group, but also partly because what I was told was I needed to share my story. Now, most of you guys have been in business for a day at this, right? And when we do an event, our story is that quick little 2 or 3 minutes, and that's manageable for me. But to stand up here and talk about me for 15 minutes or so, that's tough. So here goes. My name is Terry Page, and I am an independent consultant with Arbonne International, and I'm a new regional vice president. That's awesome. I want to tell you just a little bit about myself first. Personally, I have been married to an amazing man for as long as I can remember. I tell people we've been going steady for 38 years. We have 8 children together. I always get that gasp. So the next question out of people's minds, people's mouths is, okay, are they all yours? Like mine and my husband's, yes, they're all ours biologically, and there aren't any sets of twins, and they were one at a time. So let's just cover those bases. Their ages are 9, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and then 28 and 35. So I was 10 when I had my first one. And we also have a grandchild, a beautiful little granddaughter who's 2 years old. So I tell you that to give you the backdrop of my life. As you can imagine, our life is full. It's very full. We homeschooled, I homeschooled the 6 little kids, their whole career until this year. This September was our first year ever to go to school. So that was, sorry about that. That was interesting, and I'm still weighing that pros and cons on that. But, and we had just a long, my background is accounting, finance, marketing, and business ownership. We were very young, actually, when we had our first child. And so my thing was, I got to go to college, I got to get a degree, I got to get a job, we got to be able to eat. And my husband wanted to go to medical school. So, those aptitude tests that tell you what you're good at? Well, I apparently am good at accounting. Although I'm not really the accounting persona, right? More a people person, more want everybody to like me, and I was an auditor. So can you imagine how many people didn't like me as an auditor, right? But I did it, and we got through. My husband went to medical school, started a practice. We worked on that together. And then I took a little break for a while because we had our second set of kids. As you've heard the age range, right? So we forgot for a long time, and then we remembered we wanted to be family. That's really what happened, okay? And before it was too late. And but anyway, so I had this great little life. I was home with the 6 little kids. We were homeschooling. Things were good. I had some health issues that I had to work through from 6 kids in 7 years, right? But other than that, life was good. But in 2011, we determined, my husband was in private practice. We'd always had that. It had been our way of life, our livelihood. And we realized that the business of medicine was changing. And it was not positive. And if we didn't do something, if we didn't make a shift, make a change, then, we weren't going to be able to sustain our lifestyle. And that was really scary. It was very scary. So we were, gosh, what are we going to do? Should we sell to a hospital? What should we do? We had plenty of patients. That wasn't the issue. It was that, reimbursements were down and expenses were up. And that balance was shifting every day. And as Dominique mentioned, college obviously is an issue for me, right? Anyway, so we had been praying about it and trying to figure out what, my husband would always talk about, if there was something that we could do that where I wasn't the widget, You know, basically that's an economics accounting term. It's a nerd term, I know. But the widget, meaning that if he wasn't in a room with a patient, we didn't eat, right? Something that would offer us residual income, something that would offer us the ability to, you know, have some leverage. You know, we would talk about that, but we didn't know anything about network marketing at the time. Nothing. We were just thinking maybe it should be a store or whatever, you know. And so we just kind of let that settle, but we decided that he needed the enforcer, right? The enforcer to go back into his practice after a lot of years of being out of it to help make those changes, to help make those shifts. So, you know, that was hard. That was really hard because, you know, so many of you all in this room, you're working this business to stay home with your kids, right? And here all of a sudden I had been home with my kids and I had to leave. And that was a huge rip out of my heart. It was a huge rip out of my heart because we had that, you know, we had what I had considered beautiful setup. So we continued to homeschool. I went to work in the office, but we continued to homeschool. One of our older kids helped us with that, and we did the best we could. And I told my kids 1 year, that's what I need. January 2011, so this is the anniversary of it. January 2011, 1 year, I'll be home. I left that practice in September of this year. Okay, that's not 1 year. But as we went along, we realized that we kept working, we kept making changes and so forth. And then in March of that year, 2011, I met Dominique. I did have a little knitting business before that, which I've since let go. And we were vendors there. And as we started to talk, and of course I tried the skincare and it was amazing, right? And then she came and did the one-on-one with me. And as she was going through the presentation, I was just kind of thinking, wow, this is interesting. Time leveraging, I don't really understand. We talked about it, but I don't really understand network marketing, but this is interesting. And then, of course, I fell in love with the products, like we all do, and started using them, and the nutrition substantially improved my health. And one of the things we were doing in the practice was setting up a wellness program, so I just started to share product. I was basically a product salesperson, okay? And I had a business partner at the time that joined me who was the exact same thing. She was a clone. Her husband had a medical practice and, 2 hours away from me, and we had the same system set up. So we grew very quickly. We grew to area very quickly, like, within 3 or 4 months, and we stayed there because that's what we were about. We were about sales and about being the expert. We were the experts on how to lose weight or to get healthier and that kind of thing. And it was very gratifying. It was joyful to do that. But what we found was that, that's where it stayed. Now, at that point, I just kind of felt like, well, okay, this is what an Arbonne is, and this is decent income. Yeah, it's making about $1,500 a month, that kind of thing. That's pretty good. A couple thousand, that kind of thing. But, and I actually almost quit my Arbonne business several times because I was so overloaded. When you think, okay, gosh, I'm trying to manage a practice and grow a practice. I'm trying to support my husband in his goals to continue his education. I'm trying to educate my kids. I had all these different things going on, and we were so frustrated financially because every time we would think we would get ahead, something would happen, the government wouldn't pay us, or something would happen, and we would get behind. And it was like a wheel. It was just a hamster wheel. It was a hamster wheel. So we, and that's why I almost quit my Arbonne business, thinking, okay, I got to put that out. I can't do one more thing. Well, then my husband had an emergency heart surgery, and the heart problem was based on stress. Okay, it was based on stress, and it was just like, dude, he's the widget, right? He's making the main income. And here we are, 6 kids and a wife trying to do the best she can, and we're not getting ahead. And now he's laid up for 3-4 weeks, and that's scary. So, I kind of went back within myself and said, okay, what am I supposed to be doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? What's the right thing to do? And then that was that really, the light bulb realization. I'm holding a gift in my hand that gorgeous blonde gave me. And I don't even see it. It's all the things that we prayed about. It's all the things that we were looking for. Now, I don't mean to sound like, oh, it's the end all be all, but it was the vehicle that could help us. It was absolutely the vehicle that could help us. And so at that point, I realized that I had a lot of behaviors that held me back. This was kind of in 2014, and I was realizing, well, what is wrong? Why isn't my R1 growing like hers, or his, or hers, or his? What's wrong with me, right? And I know we shouldn't compare, but the reality of it is that this business really is about personal growth. You've heard that said, right? That R1 is a personal growth company disguised as a health and wellness company. Well, it's true. It's true. And so I started in 2014 to start to really look at myself. What holds me back? What are the things? What are the behaviors? What's the mindset? What's going on with that? And I actually, hired a coach to help me with that too, which is fun. She keeps me accountable. But anyway, that was where, at that point then, I started to make the shift, that it wasn't all about me. So what did I learn? And I know I've got I'm probably done. I'll be done in a second. What did I learn? I learned that it's all in how you show up, and that you have to come from a place of contribution and an abundant mindset. If you're always looking for a way that you can add value to somebody's life, their circumstances, or their situation, the rest will follow and the success will follow, but being authentic is the key. Looking at each person uniquely, not just as a prospect, but somebody that you could fill a need for. And that for me, I was so ruled by fear at first that somebody would think I was trying to take advantage of them, that I was just looking at them with a dollar sign on their head. And I was worried about that because I didn't fully grasp what we had, So when it switched, when I turned that and realized that the joy is in the journey, the joy is in the contribution, and put some processes in place that kept me organized, because I'm naturally a scatterbrain and a very disorganized person, breaking it down, staying in that process, that really helped. And if I just focused on those fundamentals, probably much like an athlete does, practice, 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 it was those little things that added up. And doing that personally, and then just letting my team see that example and loving on people where they were. All right, it's kind of the difference that I see in Region. Once we made that shift, and I started to speak it and tell people we are going Region, and it terrified me to say it. And then I put a date on it, and that was really scary. But what I found was it was like the Pied Piper. The more I said it, the more I spoke it, the more it happened. And people believed, and they saw that vision, and they joined up. So hold yourself as responsible, and be responsible for your own business. It's not anybody else's job to manage your business. Your upline isn't your boss, okay? Your upline is really your coach. So follow those leads, follow that example, and create those disciplines. And when you focus on the results, they'll happen. All right, I'm finishing up. So we call ourselves the Abundance Region, because that's what we want to manifest for ourselves and for others, to be truly grateful. And I'd like to leave you with today is that if you're holding that amazing business in your hand called R1, and that you have the tangibles that you can see, the most amazing products, the most unlimited income potential, promotions, recognition, trips, and jewelry, that there's so much more. Everyone I meet in R1 is a seeker. I mean, when you look across this room, everybody here wants to be the best version of themselves. And I will tell you that in developing the skills to achieve the tangible results that you're looking for, the income or, better skin, less crow's feet, whatever, that personal growth is going to happen if you let it. And along the way, you're going to pull other people in too that want to be the very best version of themselves. So I encourage you all to grab that, to realize what a gift you have in your hand, and start today. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Start today and go forward. Thank you guys.